I think my number one advice to anyone doing anything is take class.
Nice.
You are not above learning.
Do you continue to take?
All the time.
Wow.
I have an acting coach that I see bi-weekly. I try and be in as many acting classes a week.
Welcome to Detox with Deena and Friends. I'm your host, Deena Theodora, singer, songwriter, and actor. My aim for this podcast is to empower, motivate, and inspire you. Thank you to Lavish Design for sponsoring this episode. Head over to lavishdesignbuild.com for luxury design and construction.
All right, we got Miss Alexandra Beaton. I'm so excited that we have you, girl. It's funny. We met once and we hit it off.
Yeah.
And it was at an event, I think Max Jamali, shout out to Max Jamali for his beautiful art. And so we just...
That sounds so cool of us that we met at an art event. Like if you had told my 13-year-old self that, I would be like, oh my goodness. Who is she?
I love it. I love you. You're so great and you have such great energy. So... It was interesting because at the time I didn't even realize I was going to put this, detox together. And then I was like,
great name.
Thank you.
Great name, great hashtag.
Let's get the movement going. And I just literally said to myself, okay, I got to get the girl gang and just get this going because I feel like there's so many empowering, inspiring stories that I want to, share with other women of, just beautiful journeys. So with that said, Miss Alexandra, introduce yourself. Tell our listeners a little bit about you.
So my name is Alexandra Beaton. I am an actress or actor, depending on what you want to say there. I currently am starring in a show called The Next Step, which is on Family and Disney. And I have a show on Hulu coming out called The Hardy Boys, which I'll be in for a few episodes. And then I'm filming a show called For the Record, which will be on CBC.
Yeah. All right. And so can you tell me how did you get involved with the acting? Was it just from childhood or did you just say, hey?
I think it was a mix of both. I was really lucky to have a mom who knew the industry relatively well. So I got to avoid a lot of those very classic pitfalls.
Yep.
Shout out to Kate Wheeler.
My there you
go. So it was definitely something I was always interested in. But I think acting is a job that a lot of people are interested in when they're younger. I was lucky in the sense that I did book a few things. I booked 300. I filmed that, which was phenomenal.
I'm sorry, did you say 300?
I did, yeah.
Did you say 300?
I did.
What did you do in 300?
Do you know the kind of tree of dead people?
Yes.
Do you know the little kid before that?
Yes.
Yours truly. You thought it was a boy. Psych, it was me.
Okay, I need to go back and actually look at that scene because how old were you?
9, but
that's amazing.
my mom had to cut my hair because it grew in so
oh my God.
so fluffy, if you will.
So where did they shoot that, by the way?
Montreal.
Oh my God.
I know, it was actually my first ever experience. I just turned 9 going on 10, I was 9 going on 10, and that's kind of the age that you start to notice guys.
Yep.
And I was on that set and I was like, I get this. If every guy looks like this, I completely understand why some women are into guys.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
I went back to middle school and it wasn't the case.
Oh my God, right? Everyone's like, what the heck's going on? Where's your...
Yeah.
So did you know you wanted to get into acting at that age? Did you really love it?
I did. I was and still am, I'm a huge reader. I read 2 or 3 books a month.
Wow.
And I think as soon as I kind of put the two together that I could live in the world of the books I was reading, that's when it became a real thing to me. Obviously, I was young when that happened. I was around 12 or 13. So it took a few years to actually establish myself and realize what went into it and what it took.
Yeah. What book inspired you to think?
I was a huge Harry Potter girl.
I was going to say Harry Potter.
I had to be
here we go.
Huge Harry Potter girl. But there was also Angus Thongs and Full Frontal Snogging, which is a huge movie for girls my age. And then
what's the one the lion, the
Witch in the Wardrobe.
Right?
That was a good one.
I love those kind of books that turn into movies, and it's so fantasy land, Lord of the Rings and all this going. Oh, that's amazing. So your imagination was flowing from a young girl.
Definitely. And I think now in my career, I've kind of moved away from stuff like that. I really want to do very grounded work. So I mean, obviously, if they're remaking the Harry Potter movies, please cast me in any role whatsoever. Maybe specifically Luna Lovegood.
You're so cute.
And huge productions like that I would love to be a part of, but also I'm really interested in kind of more indie things and very well-grounded scripts.
So did you start off right away doing what was it more of? Was it commercial? Was it print? Or
Definitely
was it...
commercial. I think that's where everybody kind of gets their feet wet. I did a Hyundai commercial. I did a Montana's commercial.
Look at that.
All that kind of stuff.
Yes. Here in Toronto?
I was in Toronto at this point. And that's kind of where it all started and how I got into it.
Of course, you had your mom supporting you.
Yes.
Are you the only child?
No, I have one sister. Her name is Sophie, and she's in law school right now. So you can already see how different we
look
are.
At that. Into the arts. I love it. So you basically, right now, so fast forward, you did 300, you were 9, and then fast forward to now, you're doing, Next Step and Hardy Boys and For the Record, and that's amazing.
Thank you.
Does it take up the whole year for you, or how's the timeline?
No, it's a little bit hard to describe. So last year is a good example.
Okay.
My January, February, March was slow.
Right.
And then I booked a movie that at the time was called The Perfect Cheerleader, ended up being called The Cheerleader Escort for Lifetime. Filmed that.
Right.
Went right on to shooting The Next Step, went right into shooting The Hardy Boys. The Hardy Boys I shot for, I was on and off for around a 2-week period.
Well, may I ask, so this is all sent from the agency?
Yes.
At that point, it's an audition.
Yes.
So you had to win out how many girls?
I couldn't even tell you. It varies for each and every role. For some of the bigger ones, I auditioned for CW, which is great. You're going up against thousands on thousands of people. For more of a Canadian market, it probably is around 1,000, maybe closer to 200, depending on how much they've narrowed it down.
But the thing is, if you're doing it, are they American casting, or are they is it, the show is American, or they're doing it here, the casting in Canada?
It kind of depends. It's a bit of an interesting world. There's a lot of tax incentives and stuff like that aren't my particular area of expertise. But if they are filming in Canada, they do hire.
They have to hire
some Canadian actors. Okay. The Hardy Boys is a perfect example. Most of the main cast is Canadian.
Wow.
The leads are all Canadian, except for the dad, who did spend some time in LA, but I think, if I'm remembering correctly, is still Canadian born.
And so all of these are within this year, or one last year?
This was 2019.
Oh, 2019. Awesome.
Yeah.
And so tell me your role in Next Step.
Next Step, so I've been on that show for 7 years, so it has definitely changed while I've been on it. I started as the dance captain. Her name was Emily, and I've progressed all the way to I now own the Next Step with a partner called Nick.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So you've totally gone through so many different stages.
Yeah.
And that journey in 7 years, from day one to now, how's that been for you?
Amazing. I can't speak highly enough of the show and the family and the cast and all the learning experience.
They become like family?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, definitely.
Of course.
And all the learning experience you got me, it also is the primary reason I have quite a large Instagram following. Wow. So that's been a really interesting...
Because they follow you for 7 years, right?
Yeah.
And they want to know everything about you.
And I feel with Instagram, once you do have a certain amount of following, people just follow you because they think you're interesting.
Yep.
I'm not.
How come now?
But there are some people out there who are really, really interesting.
You're amazing.
Thank you.
And then Hardy Boys, what's your role with that?
I actually don't know if I can talk about it.
That's okay.
I actually, I'm thinking, I play the main character, Frank Hardy's girlfriend in his old town.
Woo! There you go.
That's all I can say.
And then For the Record.
For the Record, it's a really cool concept for a show. It's kind of Netflix, I think, did it first, where it follows.
Is it playing on Netflix?
No, this one's on CBC.
CBC, okay.
I think, and also CBC Gem,
right?
Which is their online streaming service.
Yeah.
You know how they do the things where it follows one character per episode, but there is kind of an overarching story,
right?
So that's what my character is. My character and my aunt go out and try and find the singer Johnny Orlando, who my character is obsessed with. And it's kind of all the shenanigans we get into while that's going on.
Is it a series or is it
It's a series. So it just follows.
All of these are series.
Yeah. So it'll be it starts off with a couple. The couple breaks up, and then it follows the guy of that couple, and then it follows a girl he meets, and then it all kind of interconnects.
So you're in it for the long haul.
So my episode is one episode in that kind of genre where you follow, somehow I'm interconnected into that storyline and you follow me.
So you are one busy girl.
I hope so.
That's amazing. No, and you know what? Honestly, it's so amazing to hear, all of this that you're doing. What I was going to ask you, like in your journey, what do you find? I'm sure you've come across, fellow actors, and what's your definition of empowerment towards others and women?
I think being still a relatively young woman, that's something that's always changing for me. But for me, like truly empowered women are women who uplift other women. It's something that I always notice and I always see. If you're a woman who's secure and has herself, like you are going out and you're kind and you're nice and you're not trying to tear other women down. I know when we met, it was kind of so great because we were so happy, so positive. And I just think with empowered women, and obviously, I mean, I'm so lucky. I am straight and white and cisgendered. Like it's very easy it was very easy for me to find a sense of self and in that self empowerment.
Wow.
So I think just going out and spreading positivity and light,
that's beautiful,
and trying to be the best version of myself is what I find empowering.
That's amazing. Well said. I love that. And really, as you worded it, uplifting others and especially other women, empowering other women, empowered women. I love that. So I definitely sensed your energy right away, and I was like, okay, we gotta do something. And here we are. And so now we're gonna get into some fun little tidbits. Because I'm sure that your fans, your followers are always wondering, what's your definition of a healthy relationship? Are you in one? Are you not?
I am in one. He's amazing and awesome and the best person ever. And it's actually a conversation we had. Like, what is our definition of a healthy relationship? He's in the entertainment industry as well.
Oh, really? Is he an actor?
No, he's a singer.
Oh, wow.
So I think for both of us, especially for me, like I am going to have to kiss other guys and all that kind of stuff. So you want to have like healthy boundaries. But for
how do you talk about that?
You just talk about it.
Is he okay with it?
I mean, I think he's okay with it as he can be.
Yeah. He gets it's just
it's my career, and and I think as soon as you see it, you realize it's not fun. Like
no. Even though you're
doing it
it is.
Yeah, you're doing it 1,000 times in front. You have a camera this close to your face. Like no one, like it's not. There's no romance involved in it. Like all you can hear is like those awkward, gross kissing sounds because there's no like romantic vibe about it.
It's like, damn it, it's been all day. Let's go.
I know. I'm like, well, let's wrap this up.
So that's awesome. So healthy relationship wise, you've obviously talked about things open slate and everything is just out in the open.
I mean, trust is my number one thing for having a healthy relationship. You don't have trust, I honestly believe you don't have anything.
Amazing.
And another thing that I think is so important is balance.
Wow.
It's so easy to get caught up, especially in those first few months of a relationship, and I'm definitely guilty of it. You do have to make time to like still go to the gym, see your girls, see your family, spend time by yourself.
Because I'm sure you have, like, how busy are your days right now?
My days are relatively busy right now. It's kind of like a normal work schedule type thing. But
so
there's some days
to make time.
Yeah, there's some days I have off, some days he has off. There's days, like there's weeks he's away, weeks I'm away. So it's interesting, and I think we are so lucky that we do get to spend a lot of time together.
Wow.
But it also, especially as a young woman, it can't become the only thing you're doing.
In terms of just
yeah, you need to have friends and have yourself.
Yes.
And especially I find for me, like spending time by myself, like reconnecting where I'm at, what's going on with me.
In nature maybe too. Yeah.
Love that. I love going for a hike. We all got together and went up with a group of people, went skiing, and that was beautiful.
Where did you go?
We went to Osler.
Which
was it's like the mountain right beside Blue Mountain.
Wow.
Stunning.
Oh my God. And the snow, like we have some snow, but
oh my God.
That makes a difference, right? So I like how you mentioned like a healthy relationship based on trust, but having that time to yourself as well is so, because it's kind of like regrouping your thoughts, regrouping your everything.
It's time to recharge. I find, especially as creative people, I do think like whenever I'm with someone, like
you give your whole self.
I'm constantly like, here I am.
Yep.
But I also have a huge introvert side to me. I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about, where I love to be in oversized sweatpants, the biggest hoodie you've ever seen, like just zoned out listening to music, getting all my normal errands done, but just not seeing anyone and not feeling like I constantly have to be like.
I like how you mention that, because sometimes I feel like even myself, you know, in entertainment, like, you know, you get, and I love being surrounded by people, beautiful people everywhere, the energy, but at the same time I feel like it's like when the battery, you're constantly soaking up so much energy and out and putting that out all the time, it can be a real, you know, because sometimes exhausting. Like you need to regroup and you need to refuel yourself. So I like that you mentioned that you do spend time, you know, just yourself, because the other day I was doing it myself. I spent a lot of time with myself, and I like doing it. So if you can't, you know, there's a saying, like, when you want to find yourself or when you want to be in a happy relationship, you know, find some time that you can enjoy with yourself. If you're happy with just being with you, you can be happy with.
I think there's such a stigma around relationships that you're supposed to be completing each other, but I just don't think that's true. I think you should both be super complete individuals going into that relationship and then constantly making the other one better.
Yes.
Like I have a rule in any of my relationships, whether it be friendships or relationships, that if someone is growing at a faster rate, it's the other one's job to keep up.
Interesting.
Like you can't hold somebody back. You have to start trying to match that
And
pace.
I'm sure you've been through instances in terms of relationships, like you've obviously, I'm sure, been through instances where maybe you noticed there were, you know, red flags, or maybe somebody was not on the same page, or to get to the point where you're in something right now, let's say that, you know, is healthy and something that where you're comfortable. What was it that you maybe experienced that, you know, you could give advice to listeners that to listen to red flags or things that just don't feel right?
I think right off the bat, if somebody is hypercritical of you or critical of you in any way, that's always a red flag for me.
Right.
Obviously, there's going to be times in your life where someone's like, hey, like this is an area of your life you can improve on. But that's why I personally have a therapist.
That's
like,
amazing.
I'm not here.
I think everyone needs to.
I think everybody should go to therapy. Talk therapy.
We all go through things in childhood that sometimes are not dealt with, and then you carry it on to.
And you don't know the stuff that's in your blind spots that could be affecting you every day.
And I find it's interesting because in acting and entertainment, you have to dive into so many emotional moments of your life so that you can be that character. And sometimes, you know, getting into those emotional, you know, spaces can really affect you after or during.
But that's why a lot of people say this, and a lot of people have this belief that you have to be like a damaged person to be an artist. But I just don't think that's true. I know I do my best work when I'm in a healthy space, especially a mind frame, because I'm not afraid of any of my emotions and I'm not afraid of what it's going to trigger. So going into sadness doesn't mean I'm thinking of
good point.
The worst thing in my life.
I know there's different methods of getting to the characters, right? And how do you get to those moments? If, like you said, you don't have to be a damaged, troubled person, but then how do you reach those depths?
I think the thing about, unfortunately, being a human is life isn't made easy, and everybody is going to have times where you're feeling sad and lonely and suffering and rage. So you already have that in you. You know those feelings. You're able to access them. But if you have things that are kind of built onto those, that's when it becomes very damaging. Like if you're always going into anger, thinking of how somebody really like made you feel angry because they were so critical of you, or they made you angry because they were saying things to you that triggered something in you, that's bad, because then you're constantly going to a place of self-doubt and your self-worth is impacted.
Yeah. So how do you, like, so let's say you need to get into a scene, and how do you break free of that emotion? Like, do you meditate? Is there any ways that you just totally recharge?
I have a rule that when I come home from set, I put my hair up, I wash my face, I get into a really hot shower, and I very actively like kind of scrub the day away.
Wow.
So it's not active meditation, which is something I do, but it's just like a good cleansing feeling. I like to pour a glass of wine. I like to cook some stuff.
Wow.
And I just kind of take that hour and a half to relax and leave everything that I need to leave on set.
Good for you. And so, like you said, there's ways, like, do you do, and like when you're in a therapy session, do you do any kind of particular, any kind of like I think it's NLP or cognitive?
So I just do predominantly talk therapy.
Yep.
I find that works if I go to my therapist with something, or if I go to my therapist not with something and see what comes up. Like if I go in and I'm like, I'm having a really good week, or if I haven't seen her in 2 weeks, I have a really good 2 weeks. She's like, great, like what about these weeks are good? Tell me what makes you feel good about where you're going.
Wow.
I think especially as an artist.
I think that you know what, you hit a point, because as artists we're just generally sensitive people.
Yeah,
and so,
I think we're definitely more open with our emotions.
Right.
Because we're unfortunately society allows us to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, like she's an actor, she's a singer, like they're more emotionally aware. Like everybody could be emotionally aware. We're just allowed to be
more tapped into it, right? But so do you find that like and I think that it's important for artists, like you said, to have that sort of resource to be able to speak to somebody on it and to keep you in check with yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I don't just do it with my therapist. Like I have a very good friend. Her name's Brent McCary. She's also an actress, where we talk about this stuff constantly. Like obviously we have a lot of very witty banter, I think. Of course. And fun conversations. But if something's going on, I think everybody needs somebody in their life that's just in your corner.
Either in your corner or that you're, you know.
Yeah. Like I have friends who call me. I have friends that I call. Like you need to be that for other people and hold space, especially for people's mental health and mental awareness.
Have you ever dealt with something that was like someone that came to you that was dealing with a really hard situation?
Yeah, I have.
How did you deal with it?
I think the best thing to do is first you have to assess the situation. Is that person in danger, either from themselves or from another person? Is it a pattern for them? Like, do they tend to get into these like up and down spirals with themselves? And then you just listen. Like listen for as long as you possibly can. Don't weigh in on your with your opinion right away, and don't try and fix it.
Yes, because that's oftentimes like, you know, they just need somebody to listen to. Them. Yeah. And so that's amazing that you lend such an ear to your close friends in that way. I want to ask you now, back to some acting. What's some advice you can give for upcoming actors that are in pursuit for their dreams?
I think my number one advice to anyone doing anything is take class.
Nice.
You are not above learning.
Do you continue to take?
All the time. I have an acting coach that I see bi-weekly. I try and be in as many acting classes a week. There are some actors who take like 6 acting classes a week. That's great. If you can afford that, that's absolutely wonderful. And if you have the time to do that, that's also wonderful. I don't. I try and go and see my acting coach either once a week or every 2 weeks.
That's
and
amazing,
I try and be in a weekly scene study.
Nice.
Just because it keeps you in touch. It keeps you tuned up. And also on those dry months that you do have, you're working. Acting's one of those things.
Always working on the craft.
Yeah, that if you're not hired on something, you might not be doing. It's not like painting or writing or singing. So go and get into class. Especially if you're a new actor, you're going to have a lot of preconceived notions about what it means to act.
So true.
I can guarantee you.
What were some of your preconceived, if I may ask?
Well, I started when I was relatively young, but I definitely thought crying was the be-all and end-all of good acting.
Wow.
It's not.
Especially difference of theater and film.
Oh, yeah. So Zack Snyder gave me this. He said in film and television, you go to the audience. Oh, sorry. Whoa.
Wait, pause.
Woo. In theater, you go to the audience, and in film and television, they come to you. That's simply because of how much you can see and where the camera is and stuff like that.
Wow.
But so if you're doing different mediums, you need different coaches for that. I would highly suggest if you want to do theater, get a theater coach. If you want to do film, television.
Because like in film, I find you have to play down. Everything.
That's another preconceived notion I had, especially when I doing children's TV.
Oh, okay.
It's a lot bigger.
Oh, okay, bigger. For children, right?
For kids,
okay.
yeah. And when you're doing like adult or young adult television, it's a lot smaller because the camera's right here. It can see everything.
So literally your emotion is super big. Any emotion you wear on your face is going to show. So it's finding how to not wear it overdone.
Exactly.
Wow.
We'll just wear it realistically. Like, there's some moments, and I think especially when you're playing like quirky, cute characters where you do quirky, cute things, like that is going to feel big, especially watching it, but it's not going to read big to the audience. It's just going to read big to you. So I think like that would be my other advice is watch yourself on camera and just see. Don't go into it being critical of like how you look and stuff like that, but just see how emotions play on your face.
Any good coaches in the city you recommend?
Yes, Louis Bermander is my coach. He's at LB Acting Studio. Any coach that coaches there.
Okay.
City of Toronto.
What is it?
LB Acting Studio. That's a phenomenal one. There's also Sophie Ann Rooney. She does Raw. That's another phenomenal one. Nola Augustine is a highly recommended one. She's a personal coach. She works one-on-one. Nice. But the above two also have scene study classes and on-camera classes and stuff like that.
That's amazing. And so they do it like weekly or bi-weekly?
Yeah, weekly. Weekly is what you normally do. It'd be like a Tuesday night for 4 hours. You go in and you're either, depending on the class you take, you're given a scene, you memorize it, or if it's like an audition class, you're given it 24 hours before.
That is amazing.
Yes.
I love that. Well, there you go. Guys, any upcoming actors, do your homework.
I think that's the best advice. Like, I think especially in the arts, you kind of grow up and people are like, you're so talented, you're so talented, you're so talented.
But they don't realize.
But
there's so much behind that.
You got to work. You gotta do your work.
You got to put in the time. What do you attribute your success to? What do you attribute all your works to right now? Like if you were to give a word or give in a sentence, you know,
luck.
like
no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Hey, I don't believe in luck. I believe in alignment.
Yeah, alignment. Yeah. I think the team I have in place right now is great. I have a phenomenal agent, and that
team is so important.
Oh
my God, more than you know. If you're mismanaged or if you don't have someone that has your back that's pushing you even more than you need to push yourself sometimes.
The team is number one. I also think like kind of tying the two together, doing all those acting classes, like even though I do have a certain amount of success, like I am still on that grind and trying to reach the next level. Yeah. So being equipped when those opportunities do come knocking is key. And also like at the end of the day, you just have to put your work first. I have a family vacation coming up.
Ooh, and, where to?
We're going to Exuma. But my agent called me and he's like, listen, we have this audition for you. You've been requested. Would you be willing to skip your family vacation if you were to book it? And it was an automatic yes for me. Like you have to put it.
You got to put things first in priority. Yeah. You mentioned Next Level. What's Next Level for Alexandra?
I think Next Level would be another series regular on something that's not a children's TV show. So the dream for I think everyone. Yeah. Is HBO for every actor ever.
Wow.
But I also love a lot of the content the CW is putting out. Anything by like A24 is phenomenal. And just kind of staying in tune with what actors I really like and respect are doing.
Wow.
And that kind of stuff.
Have you been to any award shows? Have you been to any kind of...
So I do TIFF every year, which is really fun. Yeah. I did VRAC, which is in Montreal. But I haven't done any of the circuit down in LA, just because for me, like I think if I did do it, I'd want to be like on a show that was nominated or something.
Well, you're
like
already doing so much here, right? But is LA kind of in the...
I think it's definitely in the mix.
The mix
for me. And
would you live there?
I would for a small amount of time.
Hey, anyone wanting to book Alexandra?
Hi. But I would for a small amount of time. I love Toronto. I also love New York. I haven't been, but I feel like I'll love Nashville.
Wow.
Just places like that where it's a little more of an actual city and a little more of a community vibe. I think is somewhere I really want to live.
So you're working right now currently, we already touched that. You're on Next Step, Party Boys, For the Record, and you're continuously filming all those three up until...
No, so those are like some people film, like, so like I said, I did the movie for Lifetime, The Perfect Cheerleader, and then I did The Next Step, and then I did Hardy Boys, and then For the Record.
But they're all going to be airing.
Yes, so I don't actually know the dates for Hardy Boys. Yep. Those will be announced. For the Record is in April.
Nice.
And then The Next Step is airing now.
Wow. So for all of you, do you know what it's on, which, if you have Bell or Rogers, I'm sure they could just...
I think it's like 51, like 51, still classic.
Wow. Oh my God.
So exciting. Classic, yeah.
Do you know what time it plays or...
I think there's a 5:30 showing and a 7:30 showing, and I think it's...
You all know where to find it. So I'm going to get to community because community is so important, I find. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this podcast and show was to bring amazing women together, amazing people together in the community. So tell me a little bit about what kind of things really inspire you to do? Are you involved in charities or?
Sure. So one of the initiatives, I'll actually tell a bit of a story. It's
Okay,
funny.
go up. I love stories.
My parents had reached out for Christmas. I couldn't really think of what I wanted, and I was sitting in my room and I was like, God, I gotta think of one thing I really want. Gotta think of something I want.
Yeah.
And it really dawned on me that I didn't need anything. There was nothing I really wanted. And that money could go towards something much better. And I think my dad and I had a little bit of a telepathic connection there, because he called me and he was like, I was thinking of a charity and maybe we could do something, maybe we could put something together. And I was like, yes, that sounds phenomenal. And I would love to donate kind of my Christmas gift money to that. And from that, we chose EVA's, which is an initiative for homeless youth here in Toronto, which is absolutely phenomenal. And
How do you spell that?
EVA, S.
Okay.
And it's an initiative for homeless youth, like I said. And I actually ended up putting a video out on my Instagram, basically saying, if you want to donate and you want to, because for my birthday and especially Christmas, lots of people send me gifts.
Aww.
So I said, instead of sending me a gift or spending money on a gift, why don't you just donate the price of the postage to EVA's, and I'll put everything together. And I ended up kind of writing them a check and sending it over that way. And it made me feel really good. It also gave
giving back.
I know. It also gave a lot of my good friends a charity to give to as well, because I think we're just getting to that age where you're looking for one that back. Really
and
resonates with you. Yeah. So I had quite a few friends donate to that, which meant a lot, and then quite a few people who follow me on Instagram also donated as well, which was wonderful.
Oh my gosh! So EVA's, and so have you visited them or?
So I've never visited them. I really want to get down, but when I chose the charity, I just didn't have the time. But I really want to get down, meet the team. I did do research on the charity. It's a very well-established charity here in Toronto. Wow. I actually heard about it when I was in high school.
Really? And so what do they do for the youth?
So it depends on what program you're in, but basically it's a live-in shelter. So they do have education and clothes, and they make sure you're kind of staying on the right path, and they have therapy and therapists and all that kind of stuff.
And it's all government, it's subsidized?
I actually don't know that. I know they do rely a lot on donations, which is why it obviously resonated with me. I assume there would be some kind of government funding, but I don't want to say
You know what? Anyone
anything.
listening to any one of our listeners that needs anyone that's a youth that needs somewhere, so make sure you check it out. EVA's. It's just EVA's?
Yeah.
Okay. And so in terms of really making a difference in community, I'm sure that makes you feel amazing, to give back and to do something so beautiful. Have you had any memorable moments on set that you
I feel like I've had so many. Set is kind of like a little bubble. You get so close to everyone you film with. You see them from 12 to 16 hours a day.
Oh wow.
So you're quite close. I've made some of my best friends on set. I'm extremely close with Victoria Baldessera, who plays Michelle, Joelle Farrell, and I, who starred in The Perfect Cheerleader together, are extremely close. And then some of my best friends are just actors who I've met throughout
That's beautiful, to be able to go through so many years and so much time that you build with so many beautiful moments and memories. So just to wrap up with beautiful Alexandra, what's been some of the hardest challenging things that you've experienced within your career, and if there's lessons that you've learned, anything that you could have changed, and advice that you would give to somebody going through them?
I think one of the hardest things for me is just self-worth. Especially when it comes to body image, or if I'm booking or not booking, or why do people not like me? Is this the end of my career? Am I not worth it?
Always asking yourself.
Yeah, I think especially because acting, it's a lot of rejection. I think coming to terms with, my career is my passion. I'm so lucky, but it doesn't define my self-worth.
Wow.
I have to have other things going on, other people in my life that make me feel 100%, and that has to come within me. It can't be something that I'm searching for in my job.
Wow.
Especially with body image issues as a young woman, that's something I really struggled with.
How did you overcome, or how do you deal with that?
Talking about it, just because I feel like, especially when I was younger, it was a constant confrontation with how I could be better if I was skinnier.
Right.
And that's not true at all.
Do you feel like there's a real pressure for you now that you mentioned that, like to have a certain...
Yeah, I do. I'm thankful that I'm in the industry the time I am now because it's a little less prevalent. Like there are more people who just have regular bodies and regular looks, and everything is kind of celebrated. So I think that's a little easier, but definitely when I was younger, it's something I struggle with and something I really do struggle with now. But I have put things in place. Yeah, I've put things in place that kind of address it, and I'm able to laugh at it a little more easily than I was when I was younger.
Oh, you're so sweet. I love that. Before I leave you, did you watch the Oscars?
I didn't. I feel so silly about it, but it was the weekend that I was skiing. So I came
It's always
late.
like that. The shoemaker without the shoes. The actor without watching the Oscars.
I will
No, I'm just
eventually
kidding.
watch all the speeches and cry watching everyone's. I am really excited that Parasite won. It's a phenomenal film.
I know, you heard. Yeah, it was... Honestly, I can't say I've seen it, but I saw the trailers, and that's amazing. A foreign film to win.
I know.
So many. That's congrats to them. That's amazing. And of course, Joaquin Phoenix's
The Joker was one of my favorite movies of the year.
Yeah,
hands down.
And it's amazing how to play that kind of a role and what Heath Ledger went through. Rest in peace.
Gosh.
You know, it can kind of really suck you in if you're not, as you were saying, really grounded and knowing your balance.
And I think also just being able to leave those emotions where they belong, which is on set.
I don't know. Do you know what happened do you know the story behind Heath Ledger?
Yeah, I know a bit of it, that he just got so, people like to say that he was like killed by playing the Joker, but I think the fact is like mental health was not a huge discussion back then.
So that's what took place.
I think he had problems with his mental health, and he wasn't talking about with people. Obviously, this is just speculation on my point, but you look at that, and
the character you're saying just kind of
exasperated it. I think,
and then just took him in, and it was at the point
it was such a dark place.
Character.
But like you say stuff like that, and then you look at some of the comedians who are struggling with it.
I know
as well.
Everyone is like, I think there's not one person on this earth that is not struggling with mental health in one capacity or another. And that's why it's so important, like you said, to have those people that you can talk to have, and if you don't have people, that at least you have something inspirational you could put on YouTube, and just to have those resources, or listening to our podcast.
Hopefully this is making you happy.
And listening to the stories of empowerment and inspiration. I think even for me, like it's positive quotes.
Yeah, I love a good positive quote.
Do you have any favorites?
Ooh, I do a gratitude journal in the morning.
I love that.
Every morning, and they have positive quotes at the beginning.
Did you buy it? Where did you buy that?
It's called the 5-Minute Journal.
Oh, wow.
You can buy it online. It's absolutely phenomenal. It literally takes 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night. It runs through what you're grateful for, what you want to happen.
Yes.
You have a positivity mantra that you do. And I find it like really brightens my day and starts my day
starting
off on the
off.
right foot.
And that's what I want to, before we leave you, this is so important to start your day with gratitude, because when you find things that you're grateful for, you're literally vibrating on that frequency of gratitude and more things. And that's why you probably do it every morning, because it brings in it sets you off on a good note. It's a nice
little like trampoline that just catapults you to a good day.
Ching.
That and coffee.
Coffee. Wow, I love it. How do you have your coffee?
I have mine with almond milk and a little sugar.
High five to you, girl. That's mine.
I'm trying to transfer over to oat milk, because apparently it's much better for the environment.
Oh.
Yes.
What about almonds? Strong almonds?
Well, it just takes a lot of water to get the the milk out of it, and oat milk, it takes a lot less.
Oh my God. I love it. We're both the same coffee drinkers.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's so good.
Go, girl. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy that you were here.
You'll have to have me back, and I'll interview you.
Oh, okay. Hey, I love that. Yeah. And where can they find you?
Mostly on Instagram. It's ALBEATON, so Al Beaton. On Twitter, it's the same thing. Those are kind of the two I'm most active on, but predominantly Instagram.
Well, thank you again. I love you. God bless. God bless. Many more beautiful days ahead. And yes, I'll take you up on that. Yeah.
Thank you to Lavish Design for sponsoring this episode. Head over to lavishdesignbuild.com for luxury design and construction.
Thanks again for joining in. Make sure to subscribe, like, share, and comment below. Make sure to also find us on Instagram @DetoxWithDeena and my personal page @Deena Theodora. Stay tuned and catch you next time.